So what an intense qualifying session for the Dutch Grand Prix. Wow, what a brilliant session all throughout. We had a wet early Q1 and Q2 session, and then it dried up into Q3. Couple of red flags. The session had it all, didn't it? Wow. I mean, right at the end, there to start, Max Verstappen with a magnificent lap at the end. That last sector was just absolutely phenomenal, wasn't it? It was touch and go with the McLarens at one point, who were taking the fight to the Red Bull team, and a surprise result for the Williams. It was a magnificent disaster for Hamilton. Let's get straight to it. Q3 will start right at the very end of the session. Wow, Max Verstappen, pole position, hats off. When it counted, he pulled off the lap. Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between him and Sergio Perez, isn't it? Lando Norris just missed out in that session, and he finished going to start in second place for the McLarens. They looked on fire, didn't they? In that early session, it looked like they might just nick pole position, but it wasn't to be. George Russell pulled off what was a decent result for him into P3. That Mercedes has got pace, and it's all really tight at the back, isn't it, behind the Red Bulls. And then Alex Albon in the Williams, a P4, absolutely magnificent. That Williams was fantastic throughout the session. I mean, it's such a shame for Logan Sargent, isn't it, because it's the first time that both cars got into the Q3. I mean, this is a high downfall circuit, so there's one where you expected the Williams to really struggle. Hats off to them. Have done a fantastic job to get a car that now works in a variety of different tracks, isn't it? So it bodes really well for them in that P7 constructors fight for them. It should be phenomenal going forward. Fernando Alonso in P5. He looked like he was on for a P3 at one point, didn't it? Not back though. A decent result for the Aston Martin team. They always do really well in the race. Well, so Fernando does anyway, and it'll be really interesting to see how they get on from there. Carlos Sainz 6th, so it's 6 different constructors in the top 6, isn't it? The best of the Ferraris. They had a mixed race, didn't they? Again, they were just or qualifying, should I say. They were kind of all over the place. Charles Leclerc getting on the radio saying, look, we need to sort out our strategy, get out early, because they nearly messed it up into Q3. But yeah, decent from Carlos Sainz, P6. Let's see how they get on from there. Sergio Perez in P7. I mean, can't say anything about that's any good. It should be miles up closer to the front. P7, he's got a lot of work to do tomorrow. Oscar Piastri, P8. His lap just wasn't quick enough at the end, and he'll be disappointed as well, considering his teammate is second. Disappointing from him. Charles Leclerc 9th. He crashed out, ran wide, oversteered, and then into the wall. He just keeps getting these mistakes in qualifying, and he really needs to cut these crashes out, because it's really costing him. And Logan Sargent, a 10th place, but he had a big smash as well in the early session, caused the first red flag. Obviously Charles Leclerc caused the second, and that was really disappointing from him. Expected a lot better. And then we get into the Q2 session dropouts, and it's Lance Stroll who will start 11th place. Pierre Gasly 12th, actually did a decent job considering his teammate Ocon was out in the first Q3. Lewis Hamilton, the big sculpt that went out in here, P13. Just got it wrong, their timing for that Q2 session with the timings of that. The tyres overheated at the end, he said, when he tried to do that second fast lap. It wasn't to be, and out he went, and he'll be really disappointed. Look at where George is in the other Mercedes, and he's got a lot of work to do tomorrow. Yuki Tsunoda in 14th place, a decent session for him. Outside the top 10, but I mean, it's so packed and tight with the big teams in that top 10, so they'll do well to get into there. Nico Hülkenberg 15th place. He beats his teammate again in qualifying. And then Zhou Guanyu 16th place, a brilliant session in terms of he beat his teammate at least by a couple of places. Then comes Ocon in 17th. He'll be really disappointed. He had a poor session to go out, the big scalp going out there really. And then Kevin Magnussen 18th, Bottas 19th. He was poor in the qualifying session. And Liam Lawson sees out the top 20, the last place of all, but to be fair, he's only had a Friday practice session. Obviously Daniel Ricciardo, he's broken his metacarpal in his left hand. He'll be having surgery tomorrow, and they're looking potentially at Singapore for a return. I mean, it's really a horrible time to have this sort of thing, isn't it? They've just come back from the summer break and the races are thick and fast now, aren't they? We've got Italy in a week's time, we then got a week's break, and then it's 2 more races after that. So it looks like Danny Rick, you know, out of these last 10, when he's just come back into Formula 1, we're missing a few Grand Prix. It's really disappointing. Such a shame actually that he's not right in there in the mix in these conditions, because he was my top tip for the start of the weekend, and well, my preview has gone completely out the window, isn't it? I should probably stop that. Lewis Hamilton, a tip for the podium, and he's got a lot of work to do, so he's going to get anywhere close to that tomorrow, and we should be in for an absolutely cracking race. I think it'll be a battle for 2P2 unless something drastic happens into the first corner. We've seen that before with the 2 McLarens really jumping the Red Bull in front of them, haven't they? So if they can do that tomorrow, both of them, you know, teamwork and a bit of tactics might help them to sort of let one run off and go for a win. Let's see how they play that. We should be in for a cracking battle over the podium positions. It's so tight at the front. And we've got another mixed conditions day tomorrow for the race. I cannot wait. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always, and I'll see you for the race review tomorrow. See you then.